Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to show you how different ways of releasing the bowling ball can directly affect ball motion. When we need to make a change, we need to either increase hook or decrease hook. The first thing that comes to mind is probably making a ball change. But in reality, another alternative to change how the ball reacts on the lanes is by changing your release. So today we're going to show you 3 different types of release that can drastically affect your ball motion. Alright guys, so the release position of the fingers is what dictates how much axis of rotation we're going to put into the ball. So axis of rotation also is commonly known as the side roll. Let's say for example, if you have no axis of rotation like 0 degrees, doesn't matter how many reps you put on that ball, the ball will continue to go straight. So in general terms, when it comes to axis of rotation, we could say that having to 0 to 30 degrees, we consider a low axis of rotation. And then 30 to 60 is considered a medium axis of rotation, and then 60 and up is going to be a higher axis of rotation. So now we're going to go to the lanes, and then we're going to show you how these different releases can affect your game. Alright guys, so the first release that we're going to talk about is the medium axis of rotation. This type of release is great for the typical house condition. It's going to give you the best of both worlds. It's going to give you earlier hook while also back-end recovery. So this release is the one that I particularly use the most. It's the ones that I feel more comfortable using with. It's right in between the low and the high, and usually it's a great starting point to know what adjustments I need to do if I need to do any adjustments. Alright guys, so the second type of release that we're going to talk about here is the low axis of rotation, or more commonly known, forward roll. So this type of release is going to give you a smooth overall ball reaction. So it's going to get your ball rolling early, it's going to hook in the front part of the lane, and overall it's going to give you less back-end reaction, but it's going to give you that smooth overall motion. So this type of release is great for when you're bowling on fresh oil condition that you need your ball to start hooking early, or in sports shots when the lane conditions are a little harder and you need control. So this release is going to give you the most control out of the 3, and it's a great tool for bowling on a sport condition, fresh condition, or oily conditions. So as I mentioned, this release is great for fresher oil conditions or when the lanes are hard, but one of the cons of this release is when you start moving left and you see your ball hooking early but doesn't have a lot of energy in the back end, you're going to start seeing a lot of flat tens, a lot of buckets. So that's a clear sign that you need to get out of that release and start getting a little bit more around the ball so it can give you extra back end reaction. Alright guys, so the third release that we're going to talk about here is the high axis of rotation, or more commonly known, getting around the ball. So this release is great for when you need to stand left, when the lanes are more broke down and you need extra back-end reaction. So this release is probably the bowler's favorite because it's the one that creates the most hook. Because as the more around you get the ball, it's going to ski to the front part of the lane and it's going to store all that energy and it's going to keep it for the back end, creating a sharp hook. Alright guys, as I mentioned earlier, this release is great for when you need to stand a little bit farther left. When you see your ball like kind of doesn't storing as much energy in the back end, it's time to get left and get around the ball. That's usually towards the end of the second game of league or in the third game of league, when you need those sharper angles to make sure you carry those 10 pins. So this release may look pretty down the lane. It's the one that generates the most hook. It's the one that I personally like the most because, you know, makes your ball looks pretty. In reality, it's really hard to use when the lanes are fresh, and it's only great for when you need to create those sharper angles down the lane. So maybe you can get away using it on typical house shots, but let's say if you're bowling on a sports shot condition when the lanes are a little flatter, you may want to stay away for this type of release. Now that we show you the 3 different types of releases, we're going to show you a great drill on how you can practice this release. So now we're going to go to the foul line. We're going to get on a strong finish position. We're going to hold our ball, our fingers below the equator, and here's when we're going to practice how on the side of the ball you want to be. So if you want to practice a lower axis of rotation, you're going to focus on feeling the palm of your hand behind the ball. So you want to roll it. You're only focusing on rolling the ball. And then if you're doing the medium axis of rotation, you just want to increase that rotation a little bit and have somewhere middle ground between your low axis of rotation and the high axis of rotation. And then for the other one, you just want to increase the rotation. And then with this drill, it's easy to feel because you take all of the other components of the game and focusing only on the release. All right, guys, so that's it. 3 different types of releases. Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments what do you think. What do you like? What other videos would you like to see? And again, thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.